and Sunday games, we know all the biggest names. Huddled with the crew we trust. Football feeds the fire in us. Fan Zone Live, we unite under the stadium lights. Every team, every score, we always hunger for more. Friday nights and Sunday games, we know all the biggest names. Huddle with the crew we trust. Football feeds the fire in us. Fan Day morning, feeling alive. Jerseys on, we're ready to die. In the fan zone, we'll come on. Let's cheer loud, let's stand tall. Back and forth, the stories fly. Who's the best? Fans can't lie. Touchdowns, tackles, we discuss. Feel the rush, come join us.
Welcome to Fan Zone Live, your home for arena football fans, stories, and conversations from around the league. I'm Scott Burke, alongside Tim Capper, and once again, we got an awesome show for you tonight.
That's true. We may be heading into the playoffs, but obviously it's always great to bring in a man who's been around this game for such a long time, even though people have asked him, how long have you been involved in arena football? It's always fun to have CEO of AF1, Jerry Kurz, on the show with us. Jerry, hey, glad you could join us this week.
Glad to be here. Always enjoy talking to you guys, talking to our fans.
I say it's the first time I've had you on this year. That seems like a huge oversight. Like that usually we have you on much earlier than this. So, but we got playoffs coming, so it's kind of the perfect time, I think, to kind of break that.
It's always a good time. Talk
yeah.
arena football.
So let's get into the season in general and where we are now coming into the postseason. What's your overall feeling for everything?
I think it's been good. We've delivered for our fans great arena football. All our teams are part of the community, which is an important thing to all of us, me especially, all our staff as well. Looking forward to the playoffs. Playoffs is best football of the year.
So I've been kind of taking over some of the number crunching, which is usually more Tim's end of things, but I've taken over some number crunching, and one of the things that's kind of stood out to me this year, now that we're all done with all of our regular season games, is that our average points scored is actually for the winning teams actually dropped slightly, but the kind of the cool thing is our overall scoring is per game is higher. That means these games are a lot closer than they were compared to last year. And, we only have 2 years of data to go on right now, so. And I think that's shown. I mean, I think we've seen a lot more parity in the league this year, other than Nashville's only loss coming to a broken play at the end of the game. It's been, I think, pretty evenly paired compared to the previous season.
And I think, and we've talked about it before, with the increase in number of teams, we've got an increased number of rookies. Michigan, for an example, a team dominated by rookies to begin with, didn't really know our game. Great coach there, Sean Leota. Taught those kids the game. Losing record at the beginning of the year. How they're playing now? Tremendously.
Well, and we were kind of due for a younger generation to come in. When the league left in 2019, a lot of our stars were heavy vets at that point. They've been around the league for a long time. 5 years off, come back. And now it's just a whole new crop of guys that didn't have the AF2 to learn in. So they've had to kind of pick up this game and learn it along the way. And like you said, we're looking at this now towards the end of the season, and they're showing some major growth.
No, they are. And I think some of our seasoned coaches during our bet with the SaberCats, historically a winning team, always had to do that calculation of when was he going to turn over the roster. Orlando, Iowa Barnstormers before, Arizona. Kevin Guy, different league, great coach though, grew up in arena football, played coach it forever, still brings in a number of rookies, takes a little heat at the beginning, but by the midseason, he's winning like he is now.
So just run some of those hard numbers over. Next, I'm gonna pop up a QR code here. That this is all available for everybody to see this data. Hit up that QR code. And you can see exactly what I'm looking at. So from last year to this year, the average winning score is down just slightly over 2 points, which is statistically the same. But the losing score is up almost 4 points. Like I said, closing that gap. So the total points scored per game is 2 points higher this year. And it's, again, I think it's just showing the growth of the game. And we've had some low scoring single team games. Usually one team scores low, the other team seems like it's scoring high lately.
I'm one of those people that believes in defense, getting a stop here or there. John Gregory, our infamous coach from the Barnstormers, Kurt Warner's coach, I used to ask him, what do you think about defense? He says, Jerry, the only defense I need is score one more point than the other team. I'm a little different than that, so I like a little defensive play. I love to see a stop. I think a stop in a game is great. Some people just want to see touchdown after touchdown. I like to see both.
How do you think you would have done with the kicking game being as prevalent as it is now with the deuce and the single or the one? Like, that seems like that's changed how this game is you strategize for this game now.
I like how it's changed. It adds another aspect to it. We've always been, the game was created out of the box thinking by Jim Foster. So having that a little bit now, look at what Kaplan did in Nashville and a great game. He's done that. Then he had a down game. But John Gregory, speaking of a great coach again, asking about him, he would line kicker tryouts on the goal line. If they couldn't hit the net, he sent him home. That was it. So he understood the value of the nets. I think he'd be fine with the deuce.
So, to add to that, is there any initiative? I know you kind of let the coaches and teams kind of do what they need to do, kind of give them their own autonomous abilities. But is there any efforts league wide to increase the kicking game, the improvement on the kicking game, because it has become so crucial? Or is there something you let the teams say, hey, look what's happening in Nashville, y'all figure it out on your own?
I don't know how teams don't take advantage and pay attention and get it the best kicker they can. We don't have to do anything to encourage them. They just look at the scores. As you say, they look what Nashville done. Teams have changed kickers a couple of times during the season, most of the teams. Some have kept them. Some have been retreads. It works out one place better than another. But I don't think we have to do anything to encourage them to understand and learn and use the kicking game more, because it's an integral part of our game. Watch a game.
Well, you can tell Nashville learned their lesson from the championship last year, the Crown last year, when they ultimately lost the game because of extra points and deuces.
Makes a difference. But it's an integral part of the game. Always has been a part of the game. That's why our game is so good. The rebound nets.
And teams learned. Teams learned, obviously, from 1 year to the next, Jerry, because obviously, it's just a matter, I guess, growing pains from 1 year to the next. But it's gotten a lot better. One thing I wanted to ask you, and this is more on the case I brought up before in your intro, with being around the game for 40 years, and obviously this game this year, Jerry, this year is the 40th anniversary of the test game itself. I'm curious to know. Looking back upon it being 40 years and 40 years since the test game itself, you've been around for so long in this game. It's hard to say, if you were to be able to look back at that game itself and look where the game is now, what can you say about the game in the game that you've been involved with for such a long time?
I think what Jim created has lived this long because it's a great game. it has so much for everybody. Mike Ilitch's wife, Mike Ilitch had our Detroit Drive, great team. She liked the players in tight pants. I know that sounds funny, but she thought that was attractive to somebody. And she was a great supporter of the game, as Mike was. Without Mike, we wouldn't have had a couple of successes as we did because what he did for the Detroit Drive, along with Tim Markham. But we didn't know what Jim had. Jim knew what he had. I told Jim what was he smoking when he developed the game. But he was right. We did games without the walls, without the nets. We couldn't afford them at the beginning. And then Jim was able to secure some funding, able to do them. But what Jim believed in, what he wrote on that 9x12 mail-in envelope, is the game we play today. Little variation with the deuce, of course. That wasn't there to begin with. Players, for the most part, aren't two-way players anymore. But what he created, it was so strong, so attractive, so appealing, it still lasts today. And look at all the other indoor leagues, not arena leagues. There's only one league playing arena football, but indoor football is a good game. Those leagues have done a good job themselves. But Jim created that entire cottage industry that we have today.
So, the nets are always, the main thing that people say, oh, this is arena football because of the nets. Was the Jack linebacker part of the original design of the game, or was that added later?
No, Jack was original. Jack and Mac.
See, to me, that's as much a part of the arena
Jack
game
and
as
Jill, but went away from the Jill.
That's to me as much part of the arena game as the nets themselves. Is that Jack linebacker?
And the Iron Man
changes how
at the
it plays.
beginning, everybody played both ways. Mike Hohensee, great quarterback, great coach. They wanted him to play linebacker. Originally, they went, Cliff Branch, great wide receiver, said, I haven't backpedaled since high school. So all of a sudden, they decided to be an offensive specialist. Defensive specialist, Tate Randall, great Texas boy, great defensive back. NFL roots as well, said all us defensive backs for the most part are stone hands. So we had a defensive specialist then.
I was out of everything, and I know it's tough to ask this for a man that's been around in this game for 40 years. If you were to look at everything from then until now, Jerry, what do you think is the best innovation that the game of arena football has come that the arena football has come up with?
At the time, I thought it was offensive, defensive specialist. I really thought that would help. John Elway convinced the league to change to having each player play a single position, not play offense and defense. And the impetus behind that was to develop players for more availability to go to the NFL. We were putting players up, but when that happened, we were putting 60 some players in NFL camps. And the goal is to get to an NFL camp. You get to an NFL camp, anything can happen. Good things can happen. So as much as people will throw things at me because I love Iron Man football, devoted to Iron Man football, the innovation of having your development by position, I think probably was something that really helped the players. Not the fans so much, except fans today don't remember Iron Man football, but I think it really helped the players develop and have a route to move up if they so choose.
I think it simplified the game for the fans too. There weren't weird substitution rules that you had to kind of keep track of, and
they were a little
can or can't go in.
That's right.
I'm honestly I'm a fan of the unlimited substitution. I especially now when you start talking about CTE and all these other things that are going on in the football world, it's just rough to play the entire game, even with a running clock. That's just rough.
Also too, I'm thinking too, Jerry, is that how much of an integral part has television been for the game of arena football? Because of all the networks that the league has been able to partner with and stuff like that, and now you look at what's happening now with HTN and YouTube and all that type of stuff. Yeah, I mean, you got to admit, besides the game itself, there's always been some tweaks and some there's always been something else that has helped the league grow from day one until now, because there's been some very cool things that the league has used, from helmet cams to to, I think, if I remember correctly, Jerry, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think you had in one of your exhibition games, you actually had a camera on a rail, which is now these days it's kind of similar to the sky cam
Yep.
and stuff like that. But TV's also played a huge part in the game from then until now.
We even had a camera on the umpire.
Mhm.
Yep.
Well, his battery pack got a little hot sometimes that he wore on his backside. That got hot, but we had legendary Mike Holt, one of our great quarterbacks and a great coach, would do interviews from the bench while he was suited up. At that time, he was a backup training the next generation of quarterbacks, but we had interviews from the bench. We had sound from players wired. So TV has really helped. And look what we've done this year, AI cameras. Now, admittedly, the cameras had to learn the game. Camera work was not the greatest at the beginning. And they explained to me, they need to learn the game. They need to get educated. But now that camera work is so good, so refined, and that's a new innovative. No longer have to have a truck. So TV has really helped. From Mizlu in the days, ESPN, CBS, NBC, Vice has been a great partner to us, and happy to be back with Vice this year.
Speaking of Vice, no more tape delayed games, hopefully from here on out.
We might have one on Sunday, the 26th, the Minnesota game, just because of scheduling. What we do have from Vice is that we have a window, and every one of the games in the playoffs and championship is on Vice. So to ensure we do that, we might have one, still working out whether there's a window for it or not, but that would be the only one.
Yeah, we can deal with that.
But that also helped us as well, because we were still live on HDN and YouTube, and then get a second hit on Vice. So the more times that we can offer programming for our fans, that's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. I've been pretty impressed with HTN. Like you said, they had to learn some things, and I think a couple of other teams had to kind of get on board with HTN. I saw it seemed like Beaumont switched over finally to using the HTN stuff at the end of the season here.
And that was good, but they had to learn as well. But they've done a great job. They're very good for us. I was a little both scared and excited about AI, excited about the new generation of camera work technology, but also scared as all get out about AI like everybody else is. But it's worked out well.
So I got to ask about an old piece of innovation that we tried years and years ago: the sensors on the back of the helmets to help detect concussions. What did we get any good data out of that?
We got to correct that. It doesn't detect a concussion. It takes
Impacts.
a blow to a certain level that you need to do the concussion protocol. Nothing's going to detect that concussion with the device to do that, but it let us know that we should check a player. So it really was good. It was experimental. We were glad to do that. Players signed on to it, but we worked with that company and it worked well.
And so, I mean, we got decent data out of that because I don't think I've seen it since. So I was just curious how that ended up.
We got good data on it. That company did not pursue going further, but we were willing to do it. We went to our players, asked them if they would sign on to it. That without hesitation, they did that, and we got some good data. It supported the fact that there's higher rates of incidence of concussions in soccer than in football. Not downplaying, we have to take care of our players. They're important to us, but we really like that innovation. We've looked at other systems. Some colleges have used systems linked to a iPad, but that was a neat innovation. But that did not detect a concussion, just showed us that we needed to have the concussion protocol in place.
I used to love,
which we still do.
Well, I used to love sitting in front row of the end zone, and the guy to go return a kick and lean up behind him and say, "Hey man, is that thing supposed to be blinking red on the back of your hat?"
No, it's supposed to be green, but yes.
Yeah, just put that little bug in their ear right before they go to catch the ball. We had some fun in Iowa, a little too much at times. Well, one of the main things actually we did want to bring you on about was to talk about the fan council. It was announced earlier this year, but we haven't heard too much about it. What's going on with it? Where does it stand? What's come from it? Where's the whole thing with the fan council going?
Christy and I have worked together for probably 20 years. And we had fan council in the past. And we wanted to have a fan council originally because we wanted input from our fans. From Commissioner Baker on, every commissioner we've had has understand the value of fans. Without fans, we don't have anything. We need players, absolutely. But we've got to have all the components of the stool. If we don't have all the legs of the stool, we can't have it. And a key component are fans. And knowing how a fan views it is an important thing. We view it as staff, players view it another way, coaches, owners, TV executives, but we really wanted a fan perspective. And we got great input over the years, but last year we talked about it, but it wasn't time. We had a lot of things going on. So Christy and I said, let's approach the owners and tell them what we'd like to do, bring back the fan council, 100% support across the board, the ownership board. We decided to as opposed to having people apply to the league, we asked the teams to pick with contests in their markets, doing things in their markets, and pick their 2 representatives, which they did do. Teams did it differently in each of the markets, and they supplied to us 2 members to be on the fan council. We thought it was a great idea, and it's worked out well. We meet once a month, but we want that fan perspective. They go to the games. Some of them go to practices. They're close to the players. They're close to the other fans. They hear what's going on. Their ears to the ground, and they've been great for us.
So I'm gonna share his picture from Craig Stevens with the barrels. Yeah, I mean, he sent me this picture. I'm like, these shirts are great. Like,
We
just
wanted
kinda
to
adds
do
that personal
something for
touch.
them, giving us their time. And so we came up with the idea of having a founding member T-shirt provided by Royal Retros, a great merchandise company partner with us. That's the shirt that went out to all the fan council members.
So what have you learned this year from these guys, or you're learning from them, correct? As much as they are learning from you.
It's a good two-way street. The first meeting, we've had 3 so far. The first was on game day experience. What we want to have as a game day experience, what they've experienced, what they hear from other fans, what we're giving to them. Are we meeting their expectations? What else do we need to do? And then we talked about booster clubs. Some teams have fantastic booster clubs. Some are new to having booster clubs. Not all of them had them. And so we had the booster club, the Flock from Albany, who's done a great job over the years, run that session. And each team talked about what they have and what they could learn from the Flock, and that was great. And then the last one we had run by our vice president of media and content about media communication and social media, because social media is so important and fans are so involved with social media. That was our last one. But it's an interchange. It's not a teaching session by us to them. It's a two-way street on those calls.
Tim, what do you think? I see you shaking your head.
No, I'm just listening with Jerry because it's always been about just getting some input from the fans itself, and it's I think if with Jerry having used it in the past and now bringing it up, it's always a good thing to have the input because it's as I've said before, and I think it just brought in more transparency as much as the league was able to let the members of the fan council know and stuff like that. And it's just like what the league has been doing for most of the year too, is trying to be as transparent as possible. And I think it's probably one of the better ways to do it is because it's not a tit for tat thing. It's because, as Jerry said, it's like they're learning from what the fans are saying, and then the fans will learn from what the league's telling them. So,
and I have a good time traveling around to the Vice games, getting to meet the fan council in person. Our first session was 2 hours long. That was a long session, but getting to see them in person and appreciate them being part of the council, because not everybody wants to share their time, and they have.
Well, so with all the stuff we're learning, what's the future look like for the league? What do you have coming up? Generally speaking, obviously you don't want to give away your secrets yet, but what's the path we're headed on for the next year to 5 years, let's say?
Grow slow but steady. Can't grow too fast. And it's not much unlike baseball. Didn't want to go too fast because they had a concern about the pitching pool. We have great quarterbacks. We've got great backup quarterbacks, but you have to revert to your backup quarterback. You need to have the best one you can. So we don't want to spread the pool too thin. We need to fill in some geographical holes, and we'll do that as well.
Any timeline? And again, I'm giving you loaded questions, but any timeline for when we should hear some announcements? I know things can change.
Just like last year, the Arena Crown, we announced the states we were going to be in. We'll do the same thing this year.
Okay.
You never want to announce a team until that team and that market has an arena deal. Because if you do that, you shift the negotiating power.
And that's happened lots of times throughout the history of this arena game, that stuff gets out early and blows up right after that. And now it's like, you lied. It's like, well, no one lied. It just fell apart. Things happen.
And another league that does a great job, I was surprised they announced a new market and said that they'd like to go to a building and they're negotiating with the building. I don't think that's the right way to go.
Now your hands are tied, and if the building decides they want to jack up the price because you've already announced they're playing there,
and not the arena looking to be bad guys and not trying to paint them as bad people, but they're in business to make money as well. And there's some nuances of how to negotiate at least nowadays.
Well, and a bad arena deal can destroy a team really quickly.
Because you're in the hole before you have your first game. We'd like to be partners with our arenas as opposed to just a tenant with a landlord.
Oh, and it's also too, Jerry, that what you guys have been doing. It's a matter of, doing your due diligence for all the new ownership groups that may want to come in and stuff like that. Whether they're coming in next year, whether they're coming the year after, et cetera, et cetera. You're just trying to make sure that the new partners that are going to be joining the league in the near future, that they are the right fit for the league itself.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Every league, us included, over the years have made judgment calls. Sometimes it works out. Things change in the market. Economy changed, affected all leagues. But we want to do that. But we'll announce at Arena Crown the markets without as much specificity as a lot of our fans would like. But we'll have a schedule out by the end of September, and that'll be good. And that's good timing because we have Arena Football University end of September as well.
I've been very impressed with these new owners that we have brought in. We've been fortunate enough to have everybody kind of come on here as they've been announced, and you just have some good people, just some very, very good people.
Our Michigan was a Google executive. Jake is an entrepreneur himself from Minnesota, builder, and they've been great additions. Rodney down in Beaumont is a tremendous treasure. Rodney has more businesses than I can count, but he's an integral part of that community, and every one of our new owners are an integral part of the community. That's what a requirement is. We don't want outside investors. May be good to be just a shareholder, but as the face of the team, leading that team, we want them entrenched in the community. We want their name on it because it means more to them.
Well, and even Corey, with the issues they have had in Kentucky this year, he's a good person. He's and I know he's working like crazy right now to put the best
Corey
possible team he can.
And then new Alberto and Margaret, husband and wife team that took over when Vernon, the original owner, got sick, had a stroke. They've been nothing but great people.
Yeah. Super impressive with him, chatting with him last week. Real good.
And then I like some of our teams. Look at Washington, second year team with us. Well, what they've done to build up their following, they've grown leaps and bounds in social media. Their team play, their football play has even been better. So returning teams have done well as well.
Oh yeah, Washington investing in some property 2 blocks from the arena and giving up fans a place to tailgate and have events, and that's great. I mean, that shows longevity. The conversation we had last week in Oceanside, he's got some long-term plans.
He does.
There's a lot of folks that wrote an Oceanside team off before the team even hit the field for the first time, and he's anchored. He's not going anywhere. I'm convinced on that one. So.
No, he and his wife understand community.
Mm-hmm. AF1 Fan 2004. He comes to all the podcasts. I see him everywhere. Excited for the expansion news. I know we all are. We're all just kind of waiting, getting excited, and we've got some stuff lined up coming up in the next few weeks.
But Tim talked about, we have to do the vetting and have to make sure that it fits, and they've got a good arena lease. That's part of the business. We have a great sport. It's a fantastic sport, but if we don't run it like a business, we won't have the sport.
And part of that too, I'm gonna get into a touchy subject for some fans, is no longer giving away game balls. That we're doing replacement economics. I mean, that's how it is. But
however, we still play with a real ball, not a toy ball.
Mm-hmm. And I got some of those back there. There is a difference.
Oh yeah,
between what we play with and what the other leagues play with.
It makes a difference in the play of the game.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, just even the size of the ball. You know, the other leagues are slightly smaller. You know, and they are rubber. I mean, like that ball, the 2024 ball that didn't go over well.
It is economics, and they put on a good product. They have a good game. It's just not.
Oh yeah.
Professional football, I don't think, if you're not using a leather football.
Oh, 100%. I'll agree with you on that one. Yeah, I mean, it's so out of curiosity, I know we're heading just into the playoffs itself, Jerry, but is there something this year that you wish you could have done or wanted to do, and whether it be an idea, whether it been something to do that you gave the guys for our broadcast partners to do, or something like that? Is there something that you wish that you've been able to do in 2026 that you potentially, I mean, gets you to look forward to 27, but is there anything that you wanted to do that wasn't able to be done this year?
We took a step back with broadcast because we went to the AI cameras, that we weren't able to do the coach's interview coming out of the first half and then going back into the second half, which I thought our fans really liked. I thought it was a great innovation, getting that interview. Some have copied us in other leagues that never did it before. I wish we could have done that. We'll be able to do that next year because the advancement, getting used to the camera, the AI cameras especially. But I feel bad we weren't able to do that because I thought that took something away from the game broadcast, because I think fans really wanted to hear from the coaches. And I think the MVP player at the end, I always like hearing our players talk to the fans. So we didn't get to do that. And partly my fault because we switched to the AI cameras. We didn't get development enough to be able to do that in each arena. We'll make sure that happens next year.
Well, and speaking of broadcast, you had, especially in Kentucky, you've had a couple arena ball legends that have done some color commentary there between Goodman and Colin Taylor. Those are the guys, as great as they are doing the color. I'd love to see those guys on the sidelines with their knowledge, talking to some of these coaches, and it'd be a fun addition to the game.
You just named my second son, which is Colin Taylor. He was my son's teammate and roommate in college. They both played in Indiana. Colin started as a wide receiver, moved to safety. My son was a strong safety. Colin was a free safety, but they're still friends. And Colin took to this game like a duck takes to water, and was a tremendous player, knowledgeable, great broadcaster, and he was great play-by-play. And that was one of his high school classmates, who's a regular TV personality in Cincinnati, who was doing play-by-play while Colin was doing the color analyst. But no, I like to have them as sideline reporters, and we're talking about adding a sideline reporter to the Arena Crown. We'll try to make that happen.
There you go. Yeah, I'd love to see CT more involved. He's just got the right voice, right manners, and got to keep that guy behind a microphone somewhere.
And he's got a great personality besides having had great football talent as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I say, he knows the game. Absolutely knows the game.
Yes.
Yeah. We're just this kind of sums up what I was actually just thinking. just sit here and listen to Jerry talk for days. I'm the same way. I get stories and just picking your brain a little bit here and there. You know, like I said, I know there's only certain topics, there's only so many things you can say at this point, but just in general, just the history there. I love just getting any chance I can to chat with you. It's always good.
Any chance I get to talk to fans, I love talking to fans at games. I carry a pocket full of AF1 pins. I just carry AFL pins. I like to meet with the fans. I like to hear from them because I've been blessed to be able to do this job. It's not even a job. If you love it, it's not a job. For so many years, for 40 years, I can only thank Jim Foster for getting him into it. I met Jim on the football field. He was a wide receiver. I was a defensive back. We stayed friends. But for hitting and knocking a guy down all the time, we became friends. He got me into this game, and I'll never be able to thank him enough.
You mentioned the envelope earlier. Where is it these days?
The envelope, Jim has the envelope. But he was so gracious, he had 2 exact copies made. Bill Nero, who got us the patent on the game, a former law professor of mine, great guy. He used to say I caused all the trouble. He had to get me out of trouble all the time, keep the league going. Great business mind, great practicing attorney. Jim made 2 copies of the original 9x12 mailing envelope. He has the original, but he gave a copy to me and one to Bill because we were the 3 that started the league. Jim had the idea, but Jim brought us in to help him start the league. And as a thank you, he gave us exact copies. So I don't know where Jim's is. I know where mine is, hidden.
And Bill's still involved with the league on the legal end of things, isn't he?
Absolutely. Anybody, and he does work for other leagues as well, because anybody that wants IP work done for indoor or arena football, you go to Bill Nero because he understands the game, loves the game, knows how to help people, willing to help people, still loves the game himself. We talk all the time still. And he does all the IP for AF1.
I think it's one of the kind of cool things about this sport is just how the community around it. And then once you're that deep into it, you're in it for life for the most part. I mean, that's why I'm sitting here in St. Louis doing a show with no team within 4 hours of me. You know?
But look at our coaches. Our coaches develop from players, and that's a great progression. Some of our staff. Look at Gary Compton, was a great player and then a coach for us as well. Christy started her career as an athletic trainer at the University of Oklahoma for football and basketball, then became an intern as part of her sports management program, worked up to being general manager, and I coached her to come work for the league then.
Oh, she's been so
both
valuable
on the field and off the field, having a basis, knowledge, working experience with arena football really helps.
Yeah, and Christy, and some folks will notice, Christy was supposed to be here tonight. She's got a sick pup and had to make an emergency trip to the vet. So hopefully all goes well there.
When I was asked to come back and help with AF1, I had 2 requirements. The first one was Christy McEwen, and the other one was Gary Compton. I got both my wishes. I said yes.
There we go. Great question from chat. When are you going to write a book to tell all these stories over the last 40 years?
We missed a window. Ramona Abergaitis, John Fry's wife with the Sabercats, offered to do it for us. Jim had a little problem. We couldn't get out there. So Bill and I said, we'll wait for Jim. We never did it, but I'm asked that all the time. We should do that. Maybe when I retire, but my wife likes that I'm not retired. She's also my law partner. We've been together 46 years together as a family and 46 years as law partners. But she says that too. So maybe one day I'll go sit on the beach in Hawaii and write it. But soon, I want to do that with guest chapters by a lot of people who helped us get where we are today. No one person has ever done it. As good as Jim did, innovative as he was, Jim knew he couldn't do it by himself. He relied on many people. For all that I've been blessed to be able to do with arena football, none of it's been done by myself. None of it. Not one thing.
Yeah, I mean, I first one buying that book if it comes out. What I can see to be real interesting is a lot has happened, both positive and negative, over these 40 years. The moratorium on some of this negative stuff is finally passed. I kind of want to hear some of those old stories.
And there are some stories. And even we did 21 games in Europe, 15 in Australia. League played in China. Marty Judge did a great job running that himself for a couple of years. I got 2 trips to China out of it. But the 21 games in Europe, the 2 in Canada, when we didn't have the Canadian team, were great games, great experiences. But 15 games over a weekend in Australia, that's a whole chapter by itself.
I bet. That's actually one I don't know too much about. I know about the
Yeah,
Europe.
same here.
I
I know they
Australia.
did their what did you guys call it, Jerry? When you went, it was the Down Under series or something. I'm trying to remember what it is off the top of my head.
Team Down Under, but we brought teams twice from New Zealand and Australia.
That's it.
Twice to play against U.S.-based teams, but it was Team Down Under. Mike C., Mike Ryan, a whole bunch of people, John Rowe, and the rest of the people, Paul. They all did a great job putting teams together, bringing them here. And then we did training camps there, coaches clinics. We did a coaches clinic in Japan because you remember, Tim, especially used to Scott, we had a international player program. We'd have 50 to 60 international players, both in AF2 and AFL. We worked with the domestic players in the union because we didn't want to take a roster spot from American players, but we were allowed to have 2 additional roster spots, both in AFL and AF2, for an international player. I copied a program that a bank had, an H3 visa program, that they would bring people from their international branches to the U.S. to learn more at their main sites in the States. We got H3 program visas, brought the players, they lived with our teams, learned for the teams. The whole idea was to go back to their home countries to help us develop arena football teams in those countries. That's still our goal.
I'm saying it's still the case too, right? We can have international players that don't count against your roster.
Correct.
So,
not many teams are taking advantage of it, but we got a couple, and we even had a couple international players with our partner National Scouting Combine in Florida. Had a couple international players that were there, and they got signed.
I mean, you look at a player like Henry Nell. I mean, what a valuable player to not have count against your roster.
Oh.
I think Dean Faithful too, when he was with Phillies, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
So,
and we had a great Japanese national, Tushi Suzuki, who came and ran our H3 visa program, did a great job, and it was active for all those years. My first official job when Dave Baker took over, I was vice president of international, and I ran that international program, all those games international. It was a great job. Then Dave, 6'9", 400 pounds, great man, loved arena football, did a great job, told me I was taking over AF2, and again, I said 6'9", 400 pounds, I had no choice.
I've got pictures of that man, and I'm 6 foot tall, and those pictures are older, so I weigh a little bit less than I weigh now, but I look like a 12-year-old next to him.
But he wore his love for arena football on his sleeve. Brought us to great heights, great partnerships, great TV partners. Wore his heart on his sleeve. Did a great job for us.
And that was the early days of me getting involved. And I was blown away going to my first Arena Bowl by the access to the executive level and how friendly David. Like I didn't know what to expect when I walked into that first one for me, and clearly I'm still here, so something went right.
He used to say when he got on a plane, people were going to say one of 2 things: "Who is he?" or "God, please don't let him sit next to me."
Well,
no, he would joke about that. But like I say, a great man. We would not be where we are today without Dave Baker as well.
Then obviously he graduated. Well, actually graduated to becoming the president of the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
And he did. Look what he did there, knocking on the door. Tremendous.
Yeah. I know, by the way, I know it's early. I've never thought about this because to me, it's too early really in the game currently for AF1. But Jerry, have you ever thought of bringing back the Arena Football Hall of Fame? I know it's too early for AF1, but has the idea been
Yes.
kicked around?
I get calls all the time from people who should have been in it by now. When I retired in 2015, started my own sports consulting company, did FCF for 2 years. It was still going on until it didn't go on, and they didn't do the hall. And there are people that should have been put into it, anticipated to be put into it, might have been told they were going into it. It didn't happen. So yes, but it's too soon for our young league.
Do we have the rights to Arena Football Hall of Fame?
Don't know, but we have rights to AF1 Hall of Fame.
Fair enough. Well, I was thinking if we have the rights to it, then we can still bring in all the previously elected folks. It's still Arena Football.
Yeah, it's
And
still
we
Arena
can still
Football.
bring in those people and reward them because arena football is still the great game. It's still arena football. So our plans are to bring in those historical people that should have been in, weren't treated well, and will be in.
I'd definitely like to see it come back for sure. I mean,
And I
it was
probably made sure I put my ring on.
there you go.
There you go. There you
So
go.
I got my banner back here.
Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, if I'm not mistaken, Jerry, I think there was you're talking about the players and coaches and executives that weren't brought, that when they stopped doing the induction ceremonies. I know there was I think what was the last year that they did a hall, Jerry? Well, when was the last year they did an
I think
induction?
it was this one right here in Iowa, wasn't
Was
it? The Iowa and LA Kiss game.
I'm trying to remember, but
You want in San Jose, I don't know whether that was after when John
Yeah.
Pennant, who we lost, one of the
Mhm.
greatest people in sports and greatest human beings, worked for the Iowa Barn Tournament so long. We had a great one there in Iowa. We had a great one out in San Jose, but it wasn't done. And I think some people were told it was going to be done, and that's a shame. We'll make sure that they're treated the right way.
for sure.
And there's that whole new crop of guys that played in that 2.0 era
Mm-hmm.
that it's time for them to get some recognition too. I mean, you look at like the Nick Davlas of the world and Tommy Graves, and it's phenomenal players that, yeah, it's time for them to get their just desserts there.
And Colin Taylor, let's not forget Colin Taylor.
Yeah.
Colin Taylor struggled from too much talent on his team in Cleveland anyway.
But he
So
played for
many
the
folks.
Barn Tournament. He played in Cleveland. He played in Albany, won a championship up in Albany. So
Well,
but it's
start his
players
time-
of that generation that should be honored as well.
Yeah, don't
Oh,
get start his time as Iowa. They did not get the playing time that he should have gotten in
No,
that season. He was way too good to be sitting the bench the way he was.
It's funny. Brian actually brings up a good question, which I was going to actually just bring up to you, Jerry, because obviously over the years, there's always been the quote unquote celebrity ownership within the different ownership groups in arena football, and in my opinion, I think it is changed for the better, because you look at what they've done so far in Nashville, and it's funny. Nashville has had the different iterations of the game, and the teams in Nashville for arena football have always had some sort of celebrity. Okay, celebrity.
Oh, yeah.
owner. This year, in my opinion, I think it's completely different. Obviously, from what Jeff Jarrett has done, and Scott, you can attest to this because you've seen how hard this dude works, considering still being an active wrestler over at AEW, et cetera, et cetera. Jerry, for you, looking at how much to you do you think has celebrity ownership changed over the years, where it's not just a token head figure, to now where you see how involved like a guy like Jeff Jarrett is involved with the team?
You read my mind. We've had a number of celebrity owners over the history of arena football. The ones that were actively involved at games, participating, working, talking to the fans, drawing the fans in. Kiss were great. Paul and Gene were at the games. They were at the games, so people could come see them. They did an acoustical concert for the season ticket holders. John Bon Jovi was tremendous. He was at the games. He was there. People like that. Some others we had weren't active. Ones that are involved and put their heart and soul into it. And it's just not something to put on a resume or just a name to be used. That makes a difference. And Jeff Jarrett has done that. He's at the games. He's talking to people. He's doing interviews. He's signing the footballs that go to the fans who catch a game ball and exchange it. He, along with Coach Arbette and Commissioner Fisher, signing the ball. JJ takes the time to do that. That makes the difference. Ones who just put their name, that's nice, but that's not as good as putting their heart into it. And you can tell, is somebody just a name attached to it? And while we appreciate that and want that, I want the owners who care about the game, who care about the fans, and that means they show up.
Yeah, and what's funny too, in one of his, he did an interview, Jerry, recently with Chris Van Vliet, leading up to the three episode thing of Dark Side of the Ring they just recently did on Vice about him and TNA. He didn't say the league specifically, Jerry, but he actually did mention that he is a part of an arena football team. And and also one thing I didn't know too about him is he's also a part owner of 5 minor league baseball teams, which I had no clue.
That's correct.
So
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
But he's at our games. He's at the Nashville games. And I think that makes a difference. Like I said, he takes the time before each game to autograph footballs for those fans that are going to get that ball exchange.
Well, it's not that he's just there too, just signing autographs and making an appearance. He's actively working behind the scenes. Like I've seen him work with the interns to get stuff organized to hand out to fans and like things you
He's
don't
up in the
generally
sound
see.
booth, the production booth during the game. So that's what we want from a celebrity owner. We just don't want their name.
Yeah.
It's nice to have it, but we want them working. We want our owners working. We want
just some
owners
ownership
that get involved. Same thing, celebrity. Name is nice, but some of our best teams had no celebrity owners. John Fry, his brother Dave, who had the SaberCats. They were at every game. You knew they were going to be there. They hired great staff. Coach Arbette. His coaching tree is probably bigger than any other coaching tree in any other arena football or indoor league. But it wasn't them, but they were there. They gave their heart and soul, and they were celebrities owning Fry's Electronics, but that wasn't what was drawing fans. What they provided to the fans, what they did for fans. Well, so while celebrity ownership is great, a owner who cares about their community, cares about their fans, cares about the sport, that's the best.
Well, and that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, Jerry, did you watch any of his 3 episodes of Dark Side of the Ring? Because I was curious to know if you saw what you see now in his interviews that he did, because the 3 episodes, I watched all 3 episodes. I wanted to know this guy a little bit more. It kind of gave me a backstory to what Scott was telling me about how involved he is with the Cats organization, because obviously, as people may or may not remember, he started Total Nonstop Action. He started another wrestling circuit.
Yes.
So I was curious. So did you? I'm just curious. I know it's in the
seen
side.
some of it. I've been on the road a bunch on the road at late night at hotels. I get to watch, and it's on Vice, so that means something to me. But he was open and honest. He said, "I don't know squat about." He didn't use the word squat. Squat's mine. He didn't know anything about the game, but he's learned. But he's a sponge. The other thing he said, but he knows how to market and promote. And he was true to his word.
Yeah.
So actually one of the questions Tim asked Gary last when we had him on a couple weeks ago was about that Dark Side of the Ring, and was there ever any talk about getting some AF1 I don't know, like little partnering with Vice and getting some sort of thing, a collaboration, that type of thing, Scott? Is that what you mean? Yeah.
I think there was some
Then-
discussion about it, but I think keeping it separate was probably the right thing to do at the beginning for that to launch, and also for Jared to get his own spotlight on him.
Mhm.
We would have been coattail, and while we would have liked that, I don't think that was the right thing to do to coattail on his spotlight.
Fair enough.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair enough.
So, what, so the world is completely different now than it was 5-7 years ago in 2019, and drastically different from the 90s. What kind of things do you guys do differently now from a business end, sponsorships, how you get the message out than you used to do? I mean, obviously social media, but how has it changed basically?
You used to go in and give someone an a la carte menu. I hate that. And say, pick that. Now the best method to go out, you go and you meet the people, you learn about them, you figure out what they need for their business. You learn that about them. And then you go back and you give them an integrated package. No a la carte. You design a package for them that meets their needs. We had a great partnership with Net 10, non-contract wireless carrier. They said, nobody knows who we are. So our first year with them, we put them on everything. The Nets, Net 10. When I would do an interview at halftime, I held up a phone that had Net 10 on the back of it because it was name identification. Doing it that way built that 4 times the value of the first year by the third year of that contract. And then we had great partners, Fry's Electronics, Casey's General Stores, that sold their phones in there. So you have to design a program for that potential partner. And now social media makes the biggest difference in the world. Also CRM data, information about your fans. If you get your fans' permission to share that information with those potential partners, they want that too because they want that data list. Data is key to everything now. So it's changed a little bit in that.
People need to remember too, who, as Jerry was saying with Net 10, the league at that time even took a page from like the Champions League soccer in Europe, where they actually named it was the arena football, Net 10 Arena Football League at that time. So they actually
Arena Football League presented by Net 10. Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's kind of simple. It's funny. You guys did that. Obviously, they've done it for years and years in soccer, European football, and stuff like that. And then you see, I think the G League. Sorry, that was the D League. The NBA's developmental league changed theirs to the G League for Gatorade.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's funny how even all these years later, Jerry, that the innovation and the things that the arena football has come up with, that other leagues follow. I was thinking too, you're talking about the global program. I'm sure others do different types of global programs, but one thing that popped into my mind, it's what the CFL is doing now. They're doing a global player program, but it's possible when it comes to pro football, arena football is the first to do it. So always
No,
innovations coming from arena football always seem to trickle down, that people want to, I won't say copy, they will
But
pay
plagiarism is the highest
homage
form
to
of
it.
compliment. Plagiarism is the highest form of compliment. For example, Christian McEwen and I, over the years, have come up with about 120 some things that you can sell, label around an arena football game. When I was between Arena Football League gigs and was a consultant for an indoor league, I gave that list that they still use today. But that's our list. But it's the way.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody should understand. The league should not fight each other, talk down about each other. It's all the same industry that Jim Foster created. There wouldn't be indoor football but for Jim Foster starting the Arena Football League. And that's a compliment to everybody. And everybody should work together, coordinate together. Anything, I continue to say it, any organization that develops a place for players to continue to play, to give a great total entertainment experience to the fans, is a good opportunity. I just like them to be proud of them being indoor football and not call themselves arena football. That's my only issue with them.
Mhm.
I love indoor football. I think it's a great sport. Be proud of who you are and be indoor. And the indoor football league, they call themselves the indoor football league because they're proud of who they are. Others don't. Others try to capitalize on the word arena in football. Be proud of who you are. You're not arena football.
Scott and I have always said, if you don't have the nets, you're not arena football. So
That's
it goes
true.
back to what you're saying before, Jerry.
Yep.
Since you brought up working together and just, I mean, it seems like Oceanside's actually worked out fairly well with having two leagues playing in the same venue.
Yep. And that they've gotten along. It's worked well. They're different style of games. Indoor game is a great game by itself. We're a different game. We're not their game. They're not our game. And there's room for multiple leagues. I just want all of them to offer the same opportunity that good functioning leagues do. Take care of your players, take care of your fans, take care of your markets, be true to what you say.
That's I don't want to get into the brand confusion, but some leagues do. But yeah, but no, it's there's room for all of this stuff. Each game has a different skill set, even because of the different rules involved in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Some have more of a running game, 2 men in motion, don't use the nets.
Zone
Not as
coverage
exciting as
versus
nets.
man.
Yes. We
Yeah.
like our defensive rule with the jack and the mac. We like that. We like a tight end. Some others don't play with a tight end. There's nothing wrong with different games.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, out of curiosity, going forward, because obviously it's changed over the years, Jerry, when it comes to the size of the arenas that the league has always been that have gravitated towards. Obviously, in the days before, I guess we started off with like with Albany with I think their max 12,000. When the upper deck is open, you get into those larger arenas like you did in Denver, like you did in Chicago, Philadelphia, etc. And we see what it is now. When you guys look at an ownership group and a potential arena, is there a not necessarily a league mandate? Is there a size that the size arena that the league prefers versus, like in the early days? Is it a matter of you have to have 5K, or is it it's a matter of what the I guess what the ownership can pitch to the league itself, and based on where their location is? Is there an arena size that the league has to have,
I mean, you
or is
like
it
a 5 or
doesn't really matter?
6,000, 10,000 is a big size.
Yeah.
It depends on the market because you've got to have all the buckets. You have to have all the buckets. So you have to have revenue from ticket sales, but not even the NFL makes a living off ticket sales. You have to have corporate partnership. You have to have merchandise. You have to have broadcast. So you have to have everything. And so it depends on the total package. But I liked 5 or 6,000. I always say when I see a scalper, I'm going to kiss him. I'd rather have a smaller arena, have them hanging from the rafters.
Yeah.
Some of the big arenas, you start out with a big nut to crack. You've got second and third tiers, either tarped, curtain, or open and it looks empty. So I'd rather not have that. If it can grow to that, that's fine if you have multiple arenas in a market. But you put 5 or 6,000 people in a building and you get your ticket revenue from that, that's filling that bucket.
Okay.
I've definitely enjoyed the smaller venues that we've been going into lately. It's just
we like in-your-face football.
Yeah, I've said too, Jerry, in the past, it's like now that there are two close arenas in the where I am in the Montreal area, in the Montreal vicinity. You got the Bell Center, which holds 21,000, and then you have one that's just off the island, which holds just 10. In my opinion, these days now, I would say go to that smaller arena because, as you just said, it's better to be close together than it is to have a bunch of empty seats. Sometimes you can't. It doesn't. It does. You can't help it. But I agree. I agree with what the league is looking at now. Anywhere between 5, I would say no more than 10, depending on how the arenas are set out now. But yeah, it's I kind of agree with what the league is doing. So
I look at and I use as an example Spokane. That was an AF2 team that moved to the AFL. I think their official number was a little under 10. They were sold out 10 years in a row. I sold more teams bringing prospective owners to Spokane because it was rabid, exciting, a sea of orange for the most part, and it felt intimate, even with 10,000 people there.
100%.
On that little shoebox arena they played in just got loud.
Oh
man, those fans went kind of above and beyond sometimes, but it was always a good time.
Well, everybody
and
remembers how
group,
loud it was for the arena bowl that was there.
Oh,
that was loud.
When Spokane, the new kid on the block, took on Tampa Bay, the old age veteran, and took him to task.
Yep.
I love this. I remember somewhere I've got a picture of the signs that were hung up around the walls for that game. It was something like, if you reach over the walls, if you touch players, you are out. Like just all the way around that building. They were just, like you said, they were rabid, absolutely rabid.
Remember,
of course, the goal line bandits.
Remember, one of our models was "Don't blink." We're doing a game in Frankfurt, Germany, giving a talk to the media, and someone said, "We keep hearing how fast the game is." I said, "Yes, if you go to the bathroom, you could miss 5 touchdowns." That was the headline the next day. And they talked about the rest of the game, but that was a headline. But it's true.
Yep. And
we definitely had those games this year.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And
look at the end of the Minnesota game. Just this last weekend.
Yep. It's funny if you remember, Scott. I don't know if you remember, Scott. I know Jerry will. His comment right there about if you go to the bathroom, you miss X amount of scores. That was used. That kind of storyline was used in one of the league ads that they ran. Jerry, you remember that one where they're looking back and forth like it's either a tennis game where their heads are going back and forth, or the one where the fans are running out of the stadium to go get concessions, but they hear everybody cheering because of the score. They would all run back in. So the league used it to their advantage.
We did. Buildings used to make sure they told people that there were TVs by the concession stand so they could see the game.
Yeah.
You're saying that, Tim. The first thing I think is Peter Griffin walking up the stairs at a soccer game. And every time he turns his back to walk up the stairs, there's a goal scored. He turns around, misses it, takes a step up. Everybody's
But that's a misnomer in soccer. An old World Cup, I remember, we Americans wanted the goals to be larger because we like scoring. We don't understand the value of a 0-0 game.
Yeah. It's a defense. You're a defensive guy, so that would make sense.
20 years.
It sounds like Jerry is a soccer guy, because for him to say 0-0 rather than 0-0, spot on, Jerry. Spot on.
we did it. We did a game in Paris on a Wednesday, and on Saturday in London. The promoter in Paris was a great guy. But in London, it was a company led by Bobby Moore, captain of the 1964 World Cup English team.
Okay.
He takes me to a soccer game. He says, "You want to go see a soccer?" I don't know who Bobby Moore is other than he's a local promoter. People all around me are saying, "Do you know who that is?" I go, "Yeah, that's Bobby Moore." He said, "Don't you know who Bobby Moore is?" I go, "Yeah, he's Bobby Moore." I had to get educated who this guy was who taught me soccer, taking me with him to soccer games. He's the one that taught me a 0-0 game was a good game.
Nice. That's pre-Wikipedia. You can't just pop those that info up instantly.
But
they said, "You're from Chicago. Think Walter Payton." Then I went, oh, okay.
That's a big deal.
And a great guy besides a soccer player.
You look at we talk about how the league and you guys in the head office are taking advantage of what is around today. I mean, it's not at that point yet, but I mean, if you guys would be able to get at that point, like Ryan Reynolds has done in Wrexham, to be able to come out with either documentaries on a year to create that buzz, considering starting not necessarily from scratch, Jerry, but the AF1 has started to make a name for themselves, and it's just a matter of, as I said, using what you guys have learned in the past, try to stay away from things that didn't work in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Having the you guys in the HQ with so much football knowledge, it's people, as I said, I know Gary has said it before, good things are coming. I know if you could, Jerry, I know you would say good things are coming. It's just a matter, let's, it's all, starting now with the playoffs. The road to Arena Crown has now started again. So that's, so.
And you get merchandise with that from Royal Retros.
That's right.
Speaking of Crown, what can you tell us about this logo?
That was developed in-house. It's not AI. Jared DeGroff, who runs our VP, newly added this year, does a great job for us in our marketing, social media, broadcast. Done a great job. Came up with a couple. And I think when we had a staff call, we really like the ring because it's a championship. You get a ring, like the crown. And then the idea to have the jewels be a color from each of the teams, we like that. First time I saw it, I said, that's a championship ring. Let's get that.
Yeah, I like
But it's not AI. We heard some people say it's AI. Jared has the proof to show it's not AI.
Okay. Well, we I noticed that last week with the crown jewels, and I'm like, once that kicked in my head that's what that is. Each one of those gems represents a different team. I was like, okay, that's kind of slick. I like that.
Even the crown jewels.
Yeah,
crown jewels.
Yes.
Jared is creative. Works along with Jeff Leback, who has done a great work for Albany, but now does a lot of league work as well. Just tremendous advantage and increase our social media, our numbers, but doing this in-house has been really good.
What? I totally lost my train of thought there. I had something and it's gone. My train derailed and there are no survivors.
But World Retros, great league partner, have all the merchandise to the teams, league logoed merchandise as well. I always wonder why the NFL took so long to put out NFL logoed merchandise. We did want to do the same thing. So, but World Retro has been a great partner for us. Under Armour has been a great uniform partner this year. World Retro, the special event shirts, things like that, has been tremendous as well.
I'll second the Royal Retro, just the quality, the stuff that comes Royal Retros. It's not just, hey, it legit is good stuff. That's actually, my kids got me a Kentucky shirt for Christmas, and it's one of my favorite shirts. It's really, really nice quality stuff. Like Royal Retros guys do some great work for sure.
Yeah, Dustin's good at what he does. I've known Dustin for a few years, Jerry, and he's a good dude.
Great dude.
I'm assuming the answer is no on this, but we're going to have the crown logo in the center of the field.
We allow our teams to choose from having AFL, AF1 in the center of the field, or the team logo. Same thing. We don't buy a separate new field for the championship game or the playoffs. The crown will be around the field, might be on the field, but not the center. We want that team to get the designation and the exposure.
A lot would too. It might depend on where the game is played and how that field's set up, I'm assuming.
Christy and I joke all the time. Many years we've sat in the airport ticket in one hand to go to one place, ticket in the hand to go to another place, and sometimes had to go like this and wound up in a third place. So Christy leads the group effort to plan the Arena Crown in multiple markets at one time. She did all the planning before for Arena Bowls. Now it's Arena Crown. She does the planning. There's a group in each city. Those teams help us immensely. However, she's the leader of that group, but she's planning in multiple cities at one time. Think about that. So as opposed to having to ship fields around, we don't have a neutral site like some other people do. It's too soon to have a neutral site for us. We'll have the logo there, plenty of merchandise with that, but no, not, long answer, short question too.
I'm sure you could tell the story too, Jerry, because people who have been following arena football for as long as Scott and I have know that there used to be its own field. Do you have a story there? Because the one I can think of is New Orleans, when it was in New Orleans way back when, and there was their own turf. Any particular story about how much of a pain in the butt it was to have a separate turf versus what is being done today for in the AF1?
It's a challenge because the system today is created by a wonderful league partner, Nextfield, out of Montreal. The 4x8 panels. The 4x8 panels are stored one on top of each other on a wooden pallet. The life of that field is so much more, doubled from a roll field that's stored on top of each other. Losing it 85 feet wide of Velcro attachment. It's so good. In those days, it's all rolled. So it was a lot more work. Where we're going to put it, because you went to an arena that wasn't a neutral site, they already had the team's field there. So just the logistical, timing, manpower, but other things I can't say in the public. It's always challenging. Now, another league has done a good job that they share a field with a team and just insert the centerpieces and the end zone for their championship. But that was a great idea, but that's also done by Nextfield, and I'd like to do that someday in the future.
Yeah, that's cool. And yet people too need to remember, Jerry, is that turf had to be stored somewhere. That was all the league was paying the cost for storing it and shipping it.
And you only used it once a year, so now we paid for storage. So in only replacing the center section logo and the end zone, you have much less to store.
Yeah, replacing 25 squares in the center of the field is way easier than rolls and rolls and rolls of that heavy turf.
And then move it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's true. And I think the changing too of the different iterations of the nets over the years, from the radio tower nets, which started out from day one, to the slight modification to what they were for some of the teams in the couple of years after that, but now migrating back finally to the radio nets, to the radio nets themselves.
But made out of aluminum now instead of steel.
Exactly, and they fit together kind of like Legos. That's how I put it, Jerry. But it's like they're not in one giant piece, except for the teams that have the old school stuff. But they fit together so much easier, and they're so much easier to store.
We have an operations manual that if you printed it out, it's 5 or 6 inches thick. And the schematics in there, but we still send Gary out to the new teams to help them put it together. First time.
I say Minnesota's got those nets tight. That's one thing I noticed this year. You never know where the ball's going if it hits the nets in Minnesota. That thing could shoot 10 yards.
But still hitting the iron. I still call it iron for steel.
That's right.
That's interesting as well. That's why there's such a penalty if you don't hit the net. The nets are such an integral part of their game. Hit the net. That's why I joked before, John Gregory would line up the kickers, couldn't hit the net, send them home. Needed to have a kicker who hits the net.
Well, and I like that there's a risk reward for the deuce. That if you just don't kick it deep enough and it goes under the bar, there's a risk now it's coming out to the 20 because.
But look, we had it a couple of times the last couple of weeks that if there's a penalty in the bank and you kick it and you look like you get a deuce, you don't get the points. Mm-hmm. And some of our fans were agitated. We just got a deuce. No, but there was a penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's where
I
your
would love
strategy
to
needs to
put-
change as a coach.
But I would love to put a rule book online. However, we had a situation before that a league came out, took our book, just put their name on it. We sued them.
I remember.
We went to court. We won in the first witness because Jerry Trice, who was our director of football operations, tremendous person, tremendous
Yeah.
football guy,
Jerry's a good guy. Yeah.
purposely made mistakes in the diagrams and in some of the verbiage. So we put him on the stand as the first witness. Bill Nero, who's doing the examining, puts Jerry on and has him go through the mistakes in our book purposely that he put there, and then brought out the other league's rule book. Same mistakes were there. Great judge said to the defense, "Do you have any witnesses?" But yes,
It's kind of, it's funny, Jerry, you're talking about how much you hate AI, and I kind of agree with you. It's like these days, when something has been written by AI, because AI leaves little dashes everywhere. You
Mhm.
know it's AI right away. So
I
that's
would
cool.
love to have a rule book available to the fans. If there's a way that they couldn't copy it, I always ask that it doesn't work. Screenshots the rest.
Mhm.
It's funny. It's funny Jerry mentions that, is that if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the same way not only here, but also in the US when it comes to Ticketmaster. With when you have pulling your ticket up for your whatever you're going to off of Ticketmaster, the QR code is automatic. It's always changing. You can see it
Refreshes.
on the app,
Mm.
and you can't take a screenshot because the code that it is running.
We
You
need
can't-
that technology. If you couldn't take a screenshot,
Yeah,
someone's got to develop for that, because we're not hiding a rule book. We're not
Mm.
intending to hide it. Just don't want to copy it.
for sure. Yeah, and obviously these days too, and I remember in years past, Jerry, is that you guys were trying with watermarks. Even these days, watermarks can be removed.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
it's you're
And
damned
the
if you
other
do,
thing
you're
I want
damned
to
if you
do that
don't.
I
So
can't, that I'm asking for help, I want to be able to have rotating sign, dashboard signs.
oh, cool. Okay, kind of similar to what they have in the
That's right.
NHL.
Yes.
Yeah.
But our boards get hit more than the NHL, sometimes a little more impact, but
Mhm.
we've tried for years. So I'm soliciting help on how to protect the rule book online and how to get rotating dashboards for us.
That's cool. I never thought about that. That would be neat.
Broadcast wise, it'd be easy. In person, it wouldn't work. If you just do green screen dashboards, you could
Right.
on the broadcast
This
put whatever you want
technology-
up.
Baseball does it. Other
Mhm.
sports do it, that they change the sign for the broadcast.
Yeah,
No, I
Mhm.
want to change it in the arena.
That's definitely trickier with the impacts they take for sure.
Thanks, guys, for having me. My wife says, if you put a quarter in me, I'll talk arena football till the cows come home.
No, you're good. I appreciate you answering the rule book question without us having to ask it. So,
Yeah,
but
very much appreciated, Jerry. Very much appreciated.
I appreciate what you guys do. Tim, I got to see you in person, I hope. Scott, I get to see you at some games. Always
see
appreciate
you
what
in
you guys
Clarksville a couple weeks.
It's been years since I've seen you in person, Jerry. I will admit, it's been years. I think it might have been Albany. Was it Albany? 2019, maybe?
Could be. But I
Yeah.
want to tell you that on behalf of the league, our fans, our players, our coaches, our owners, we appreciate what you do for us.
Well, we appreciate the access you guys have been able to give us this year.
Mhm.
You've had a lot of fun, had a lot of great guests on this year, and it's been a good time. I've definitely enjoyed this season so much more doing this
Mhm.
than I have in a long, long time. So,
Well,
but,
thank you for the
access
I've
for
said openly, Scott, you brought me back. You brought me back from the brink, and it's because of the game itself. It's because of what Jerry, Jerry and everybody has done in the head office too. So you guys brought me back, and that's, I'm glad.
All right,
I'm glad
we'll let you go. Thank you so
Yep.
much. Again, we took up an hour and a half of your time tonight, so apologize to your wife for us.
She's been in this as long as I have. She knew me
Right.
when I was a player and still stayed around.
So thank you so much. And we'll, like I said, I'll probably see you in Nashville here in a couple weeks.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Remember,
Bye, John.
the ball never dies.
Ball never dies.
Ball never dies.
So again, one of those guys that once we get going, man, it's
Oh yeah, for sure. As I
so
said,
on
if
and
we
on.
can, I kind of like his idea for the book. It's not necessarily just one person writing the book. It's multiple people who are involved.
Mhm.
And as you said, I'm sure there are stories that we would love to be able to finally hear the behind the scenes things for some of the stuff that we've heard. And as you said, I know there's as you said, member of the moratorium on some of these things that probably expire. But some stories, I'm sure.
Gotta get some of those skeletons. We gotta get some of those out.
Yeah, there are some. There are some that I'm sure we would love to hear hear some of the stories about. But it's that book could be just, even if it were as many pages, potentially as many pages as War and Peace, it would still be a great book.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah. And there are a couple books out there that are definitely worth a couple reads. And of course the names are escaping me off the top of my head, but when you're reading these books and it's names, and people, it's kind of a cool experience. Honestly, the same way it was when I was watching the Kurt Warner movie.
Yeah.
Seeing fans that they've recreated in the stands. And I'm like, I actually know that guy, like, not alone the players and the coaches and Foster and everybody. It's like, this is kind of neat. Like, I actually know these people. And then of course we had players that we knew playing these guys in the, in the movie on top of that. So
I knew some guys even from here, from that were part of the CFL that played that were in that movie. So the
fact that O.J. Simpson played Marshall Falk is kind of crazy. So.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But still, I mean, there are a lot of players, and I hope a lot of the things do come to fruition. Excuse me. It would be nice. And it's, again, the road to Arena Crown has now started. Can anybody really tell me that you would think that Albany, who was so dominant for the last year plus, who got it up to 20 straight wins, would lose their last 3 or 4? 3 or 4.
Yeah, that's absolutely wild. I want to apologize to chat for not getting all the stuff. Adam, Adam's asking some stuff about Under Armour and have like the commercial side.
I would think to his question though, I honestly think because of what they had their partnership with Warner Retros, I don't think he would be able to do it. Because as you know, Royal Retros does make 2 different types of jerseys, the replica jerseys. One that had the
3 for some.
Well, no. Meaning, I think they have one where the numbers are already printed, and then you have the numbers that are sewn That's what I mean. I think the only way really to get a game used or a game issued is to talk to the team. That's how, friends, like one of our longtime friends, Lou, did his collection that he did. And there are others too that have big collections of jerseys.
That's why I'm wearing this jersey I'm wearing today.
Yeah.
And just contacting the right people at the right time.
Exactly.
Like I said, I just want to make, guys, we didn't ignore you. There's just so much, Randy brought up a kind of cool point. The Arena Bowl field was stored in Grand Rapids at one point, which
wow. Didn't know
also,
that.
if you guys aren't following the world of football, you need to.
Yeah.
These guys do some great work.
Props.
Yeah, they cover all football, but they are, they're arena guys at heart. And
props to them. Even too, they this is not a cheap plug. They actually promoted my other podcast on an interview that we did, and it was greatly appreciated. It was greatly appreciated. I can say that.
They're always talking about this show as well. So
yeah, top notch. By the way, I know they mentioned it. Did you see the footballs they got from the team?
That's
amazing. That's arena football to itself, right there.
Mm-hmm.
They go in as media, but yet with a fan background for each of them to get a signed official football from the Arsenal.
Those are hard to come by to begin with. I mean, those balls don't.
No kidding.
Yeah, and that's actually something Triple E McGee was talking about, and when we addressed it earlier in the show, that's why I didn't get back to his. He was asking about the giving the football back, and it's ultimately just a cost thing.
I just wish they would do one thing, and I think that this might change. I would hope this would change. Partner with the football company.
Mm-hmm.
Get some produced, and even if it's just a generic AF1 football, not necessarily with branding of the teams, but put it up on their store. Game Time has their own. What's the name of the company? It's behind you. Tell me what it is.
Team
Game
Issue.
Time.
Team Issue.
Yeah. Game Issue. Put it on the league store. I understand it may cost some money.
Oh yeah.
True. I will admit, maybe Royal Wretches is coming because they did come out with their signature balls this year, which I think was a godsend, by the way, a smart thing to do. But game balls, put an X amount available, produced,
For just
put them
purchase.
on the Game Issue website. They have all the other ones there. They can have it from UFL to specialty balls for the other teams that they produce. Why not?
And if you have 100 setting aside and you sell 2 of them, then give it up next year. Bring 98 back and distribute them amongst the teams. They're going to use them anyway.
Exactly.
So kind of addressing this. Yes, it's super expensive. Teams go through, and it doesn't seem like it, but teams go through 30 to 40 balls a game.
Could.
Yeah. I mean, often do. They go through, they would go through 30.
Oh, I see what you mean. Not the ones that go in the stands. I see what you're saying.
when they or just that would go out into that would go out in the stands, get kicked out. Like I said, I've heard numbers from 30 to 40 for an average game. It doesn't seem like it, but it adds up quick. But regardless, these are leather, high-end, expensive balls. One thing I've seen most teams do, and I haven't been to every arena and see how they all handle it. They give autograph balls, which I'm a purist. Yes, I want to hang on to that leather ball. It's cool. I totally, completely get it. But that autograph ball, my son got one of those,
right?
And he loved being able to run around and get all the autographs on it.
This is something maybe the guys from Over World of Football could chime in on, because I saw some photos that they showed that they had from their game last week, and Randy had a few pictures of the merchandise stand. It looked like there was a replica game ball that they were selling. Either Adam, if you know this, chime in, or if your dad's on here, get him to chime in.
Yeah, they're both on here.
But I remember seeing a picture. Were they replica game balls from the company that makes the game balls?
Or
if that's the case, that needs to be done throughout the league. It's not just give a trade one of those for a game ball that you happen to catch in the stands.
And it seems like that's what most teams are doing, is that they are trading something out. It'd be nice if it was a little standardized, but like I said, my kid loved getting the autograph ball. I was, and honestly, it's happened to me twice now. Once in Dodge City last year, and then I can't remember where it was this year. But
Big Game USA Team Issue. That's it. Big Game USA Team Issue and Team Issue footballs.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, like I said, for the kids, the autograph balls, especially the younger kids, the autograph balls are awesome, because they can just run around and get it all done afterwards. But yeah, I'm a purist too. I miss catching that leather ball and be able to hang on to it for sure. And according to Adam, they are a cheaper version of the Team Issue with the team logo on it.
Perfect.
That's cool.
Perfect. At least they now make that available. Now the question is every team going to do it? Going to buy them? Because I think the prices weren't that bad. I don't remember what they said in the picture. I think it wasn't that much for a replica, but at least they're available.
You get the cheap IFL balls that cost them like $7 a pop.
Yeah, Biden balls. Yeah.
I mean, these are
whatever
these
that. They're not using Biden this year in
I don't think they
are
in
the IFL. I don't think.
But actually,
there we go. $34. $34.
This is exactly what they're using. It's called the Deuce.
I know they. Yeah.
So he's actually got this one this year.
So that's Biden too, or Biden, whatever.
It doesn't say.
That's even odder.
Exactly. Destroyer Rocks RMB 0325, the Deuce.
No, it may be a different
So-
company.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, these things cost them like $7. That's
Mhm.
a hell of a lot better than like 70.
Well, a good
So-
point too is if we're talking about the type of balls. Remember, we had the Cats kicker on a few weeks ago,
Mhm.
and he even said there's a huge difference when it comes to kicking the ball. Better leather ball than having one of these.
Well,
did I say
and-
replica.
Well, and not just that, they specifically have kickers balls now too, where they have it
Yeah.
conditioned and
the K
prepared.
balls. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you catch a field goal, which we used to do all the time, they're going to need that specific ball back. It's meant
Yeah.
for that kicker. Like they bring their own.
That's a smart thing to have the K balls now.
And yeah, especially with how much it matters now.
Mhm.
But
No, that's good to know that they're doing that. I would hope that they would do that going forward. That team issue would do that going forward, or the teams would do that, is get a replica ball. Because if you can get one that's close enough, if you get a ball in the stands, there you go.
Yeah. Hey, we need the game ball back. Here's a replica. Replica
Exactly.
autograph. I think replica would be the ideal.
I still think the game balls should be available somewhere.
Somewhere,
for-
yes.
for-
Yeah,
for
you
purchase.
should be able to purchase one, period. But yeah, again, you get these legends on, and you just want to just pick their brain for hours and hours on end. And
Mhm.
and thanks to Jerry for coming on and giving us
Oh,
all his time
yeah.
tonight.
By all means.
So, game wise, thought Beaumont had it. I thought Beaumont had that game. Minnesota just wanted it.
It's good to have games, even though there really was no. They were meaningless weeks. It was a meaningless week, really.
Well, it
That's a
wasn't. It
game
wasn't for Beaumont and Minnesota, because Beaumont loses that game. Minnesota loses that game. They play Beaumont again this week in the playoffs.
Okay.
So the fact that Beaumont lost, now they play Washington. So, like I said, that with as hard as Minnesota played, I mean, I'm sure pride was part of it, but also tells me they would rather play Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Because why put that much effort in the end of the game?
Mm-hmm.
If what you really want to do is play Beaumont and see them again in the same spot next week.
Oh, then it's good that they were meaningful. That's the main
Yeah.
thing.
The Michigan Oceanside Stealth game, it wasn't. There was nothing really to play for other than just record.
No, but it would be nice to see Oceanside, and nothing against the Arsenal, but it would have been nice to see Oceanside break their losing streak. But considering what they've gone through this year,
Mhm.
and I know people are still scoffing at the rebranding 2 weeks left, but from what if you were to watch the show from last week, from what Scott was had with the ownership group from Oceanside, if they didn't care, they wouldn't have done it 2 weeks later. I'm sure
Mhm.
there's a little bit more to it, but I understand the reasoning why it was done.
Now, it sounded like there might have been some legal issues
Yeah.
as to why to do that, but you don't buy 3 sets of jerseys for 2 games. You don't
Yeah.
commit to having an all-star game this weekend next, which that was also asked in chat about the all-star game.
It basically, in a nutshell, as Jerry told us, basically I's not dotted, T's not crossed. That's why it hasn't been announced yet.
It's set, but it's not permanently set, I guess is what you could say. The ink's not dry.
It's not officially official.
Yeah, the ink's not dry. It's inked, but it's not dry. But anyway, so they're committing to, I think he said 2 years of an all-star game there. He bought 3 sets of jerseys for 2 games. He did a full rebrand. He bought new irons. The nets were purchased new. Everything that had been owned previously by the Bombers, he purchased brand new. And you don't do that for one home game unless you're committed to staying there for quite a long time.
And he even did say too that they weren't able to do what they wanted to do with the field.
Mhm.
And they're working on a better game day look for 27.
Yeah. I expect a total makeover in that team next year. Randy, Oceanside will have logos on their helmets next year.
Yay!
and I don't know, I got a little information on that too. It's going to be more than that. I'm curious to see how it's going to play. They're doing things different there.
Mhm.
Like, I'm very intrigued to see how this plays out from a
Did you
business
see, by the
standpoint,
way,
from a-
you talk about
Mhm.
how they seemed to be how dedicated they were. Did you see their social media post after the game?
I
They
don't
were
remember
they
offhand.
went on a team trip somewhere. I don't remember what they said.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They went down to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they went on a full trip. He's taking care of these guys.
Yeah.
So, and again, you don't do that for 2 weeks of play unless
No,
you're committed.
kind of gives me vibes of Jacob in Minnesota.
Mhm. Very, very, very much so. Brian was at Oceanside, scrappy team. Yeah, offense was definitely not their issue this year. I mean, 27 is nothing exciting, but they've been an offensive team this year. They just had zero defense.
Mhm.
They had a little bit of defense. They would have won a few more games for sure. Yeah, I'm excited to see what's going to happen in Oceanside. I would like to have seen them win just because I'd like to have seen them start and end their season on a win
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
because they won their first game. That was the
It's
first game they
true.
played.
Yeah, versus Beaumont.
Yeah. So I just think that would have been kind of cool. But again, Michigan's a good team. We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, but still, too, we had a team end up this season with an. I know how well Albany did, their streak, and then Nashville has run off 9 straight.
Well, I mean, again, Nashville's one broken play away at the end of the game from being undefeated this season.
Mm-hmm.
That fumble / double pitch because you're getting tackled twice, scoring with no time left. I mean, that's what it took to get them their one loss. And there's questions as to whether the pass interference that came before that should have even been pass interference.
Yeah, I know.
So I mean,
I know.
Nashville's just been rolling all year, which may as well roll over to that.
Yeah.
This has been driving me nuts, but I appreciate
final standings for the regular season
for the most part, and I appreciate Adam
for the most part. You're right.
Adam posted something on here or on X earlier today about you can tell this is an AI because this is manually screwed up. The Oceanside only showing 11 games still.
Oh shit! Yeah. Whoops. Sorry.
We're not made for children.
I know. I try not to cuss on my podcast, but yeah, you're right.
So, okay, and I think some of the stuff might be automated, kind of like the standings on the website itself, to where you plug in scores and they automatically fill in these holes. And when you have that one game with Michigan that didn't count, it kind of screws up what gets counted automatically.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's why it says. That's why it says just 11 games. You're right.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know if they've cleaned up on the website yet, but it was kind of off all last week too, where first it was showing Michigan already had 12 wins.
It's still off. It's still off.
Yeah. And I think it's just because a lot of that stuff's automated. You put into one spreadsheet that says, hey, this team won, this team lost. And when you have that one that counts but doesn't.
Yeah, I know.
Kind of screws up that methodology.
By the way, it's still funny. I know we didn't get to talk about last week. It's still funny that because of that game, there was still an award winner from that game.
I struggled.
Props are due, though. Props are due.
Oh, Tim, you're influencing the youth.
I was about to say, that's got to be Adam. Yeah.
But I looked at that game and I pointed out the Scoregami page earlier. As far as I'm concerned, in terms of scoring records, in terms of those kind of things, I'm counting it. Whether it counts on their record or not, it was still a game played in the regular season by 2 AF1 teams. Asterisk, but what good does that do? Then the asterisk has to explain it somewhere else. I'm not about to do that much work. So there was a game. They scored 160 points. It's a new Michigan record. Didn't count on their win-loss, but they still completed that. Had it been a Michigan put in, guys off the street because they just didn't care.
I still don't
Okay,
think,
maybe
by
not
the way,
count that one.
I still don't think Kentucky should have gotten that. The win should not have counted in the win column for that forfeit.
Forfeit.
Yeah, I don't think it should count.
I mean, Oregon's the one that didn't show up, so
I know. I know.
yeah, I mean, that's just, you got to do something to keep it. And that was the whole thing. That's why that one game didn't count for Michigan. It's just trying to keep things even. So
Yeah. I think by the
Yeah.
Triple McGee asked if they're adding any more games next year. I think it's still the same amount. I think it's still 12 next year.
I
think
want
it's
to say
12.
somewhere I heard 14, but I could be making that up.
You know what? It may depend on how many teams. It may depend on how many teams too.
True. Because you don't want to be repeating the same teams over and over again if it comes down to it. I want to say somewhere I heard 14 though, and but again, that
well, you know what? It's funny.
I talk
say
this game 24/7. So
yeah, it was funny. I say that, and yet the CFL plays 18 and it's 9 teams. So I shouldn't really be talking.
You know, those years that the AFL did the 18 games, man, that was exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
That was absolutely exhausting. I hope, as much as I enjoy this game, I hope we never see an 18 game season again. That was too much.
They would need the teams.
Well, yeah.
But yeah.
So, I mean, 12 worked, 8 teams, 12 games. All right, it worked. You know, league put this graphic out. I thought it was kind of cool. Little
I thought it was
graphic.
pretty cool. Yeah. By the way, I sent you a link earlier. I don't know if you saw it where we're talking to Jerry. If you wanted to give an idea,
no.
People haven't been over to Royal Retros yet to see some of the merch. They got, I think, 2 types of. They got 3. They got caps and 2 types of shirts.
I tell you, Royal Retro's been doing some good stuff, and they've been keeping. Switch over to that account. They've been keeping they keep keeping the stuff fresh. They got mini helmets now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, one thing I do want to share that. Bear with me a second because it wasn't something I originally planned to share.
Yeah.
Is this is not correct. If you see this, it's more than likely how it's going to play out, but it's not correct. This is not the playoff structure.
Yeah, there should be no line in between the quarterfinal and the semis.
If Washington comes into Minnesota and wins, Washington's going to Nashville.
Yeah, it'll be the highest seed. Yeah, lowest seed.
Period.
Lowest seed will go to the highest seed.
So it's not a straight bracket. At one point, the league did put something out last week that basically said that it would be bracket play, but they corrected it and said it will not be bracket play.
No, which I think people made a little bit more out of than was really necessary.
Yeah, but it was unclear on the league's part, and that's, again, good on them to call it and call a mulligan and put it out there. Say, hey, that's what we put out was confusing.
Yeah,
it was. But so this is not correct. If you see this out here, that being said, that's probably how it's going to play out. More than likely, Michigan's going to be going over to Clarksville. Washington's coming to Albany. Or sorry, Minnesota's coming to Albany.
Yeah,
more than likely. But we've seen how this game works. Anything is absolutely possible. One other thing I did see right before I came online, and I'm going to just pull this up on my phone and read it off here because I thought it was particularly interesting. There was an article from the Northern Kentucky Tribune talking about the barrels. And at the end here, it does say how the regroup barrels will play this out is anyone's guess, but this week's roster does list stars like Darrell Overstreet Jr., Zeke Rose, Darius Prince, and Joe Powell. So that's a name I did not see on the most of those were on the transaction list. Overstreet was not on the transaction list prior. So according to the Northern Kentucky Tribune, we know who the quarterback's going to be this week for Kentucky. That being said, I've reached out and talked to Corey, the owner in Kentucky. He's really trying to put together the best possible team. This is not going to be I'm not going to tell you there's not going to be any replacement players because I can't guarantee that, but he's trying to put together a legitimate team to play this weekend in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So the team's not dead. there's a lot going on. It's not a pretty situation. I feel for him, but
do you see them moving, considering the garbage that they went through with the arena?
I don't know. I was very disappointed in the arena and the experience I had with it. And it has nothing to do with the team. It was
no.
the arena staff.
I'm talking specifically the arena. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
enjoyed it.
Cincinnati. No, they can't. Lexington's too. We talked about this. Rupp
There's not a lot of options.
Yeah, Rupp is too big, or they move literally into Cincinnati, back to Cincinnati. Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah. There's not a lot of options. Yeah, as Brian says, some of those Kentucky players, I'm going to get this other graphic off the screen, have already signed with other teams. And yeah, so yeah, not everybody's going to come back. That's just how it's going to be. I'm sure there's people that don't want to come back. So I'm just reading what was reported in Northern Kentucky newspaper put out there.
Randy chimed in, by the way. He said, I think it's the same thing with Adam. Adam heard 14 also, but as he said, things can change. Right.
And there's been some rumored expansion announcements coming soon. Again, we didn't want to hold Jerry's feet to the fire because there's only so much he can say.
And again, I like how they're doing it because they're keeping everything. They're keeping the league in the news cycle.
Yeah. If they come out next week and say, hey, these are all our new teams, these teams are going away, here's our TV deal, here's everything else, what's there to talk about for the next couple months?
Yeah.
You got to string us along. Now, that being said, let's not wait till the week before the season start to announce where to watch the games.
Yeah. That's the only thing. And we don't know. Again, it may have been trying to figure stuff out with HTN and stuff like that, but yeah.
Well, and we didn't have
they were good and bad this year, and I will admit it does kind of stink that there's the game, there may be a playoff game that's on tape delay this week, but let's hope it's not 11 a.m. on a Monday. But Jerry did say it'll be on HTN and it will be on YouTube. So which they did for the Vice game this week too. They put it on.
I was surprised to see YouTube.
Yeah, I know.
So hey, whatever works. I do think it's funny too when you're watching those games that there's no commercials. They just stare at random people in the stands.
Oh, you gotta be no, dude. That's where Eli and his play-by-play color guy need to be very careful about the hot mic.
Okay, it's funny you bring him up. That was the one thing I was probably most disappointed in this week. The announcers weren't good, and Eli, a legend, but he spent probably half the game complaining about the rosters not being updated. It's like, we get it. It sucks. You're more professional than this. Let's move on. He complained the entire time. And I'm like, that's rough. And the guy in Minnesota, I'm not sure what game he was watching.
That would be on the team though.
It's 100% on the team.
Huh?
It's 100% on the team. They didn't give them the right rosters or the right, numbers of names, but
this isn't Orlando and Pittsburgh after the for the ESPN game after the strike. It's not that time.
Oh yeah. No, it's on the team. The team screwed up and didn't give them the right numbers, but we get it. You're not 100% sure. Just say number 2 and move on. It was the entire time. I was like, come on, you're better than this. You're a better announcer than this. And he just, I don't know. He seemed like he was in a bad mood that night. But the guys in Minnesota were just talking crazy. Like there were.
I saw your comments in the chat. Yeah.
Oh, and that was only a couple of them. Like there were some bad ones. At one point they even called Minnesota. What was it? I don't know, some random team that I'd never heard of. And they mentioned Orlando at one point. And I'm like, what game are you guys watching? And it seems like I like those guys too. And like, don't get me wrong, I like the guys that were doing. They usually do a great job. this was not a good week for announcers. So hopefully I can get some of that cleaned up because it was just not their best week. Stockton was mentioned in chat as a possible expansion team. Again, that's one of those. Stockton's
It falls under the exact same thing as what the current All-Star game is. T's crossed, I's dotted,
Yeah.
arena deal. No matter what Stockton has said.
Eli's past his prime. I don't know if it's that or if I don't. I mean, he's doing these games remotely, and that's got to be significantly more difficult to not be in person watching the game and trying to comment from the feed that you have.
Is he doing them from Birmingham? Does he live in Birmingham?
I'm not sure.
I think so, because I know he would travel. I think went to Nashville to see the games, to do the games for the Cats when he was just there play-by-play.
That would make sense. He'd be somewhere around there. Honest opinion of the Wolfpack. It's possible. I definitely wouldn't completely count them out, but I also wouldn't put any money on them. This game's crazy at times.
They got a tougher road.
Mm-hmm.
They have a tougher road. If they were doing lines, I'd probably say, because Minnesota's at home. I say Minnesota's probably should be favored by 8. I think 8 points.
So the reason I say they got a chance is because they're playing in Minnesota. Like normally that would be a make things more difficult. But as I mentioned earlier, those nets are so tight. If your kicker can hit those nets, forget the deuces. If your kicker can hit those nets, get some crazy bounces, recover a couple of those kicks, forget 2 points. Now you just got 6.
Mm-hmm.
And those nets are just tight enough in Minnesota to make it an absolute wild card. So, but they're going to need some help. They're going to need some lucky bounces to make that work for sure. So yeah, defense is good, but they need to score, and that's exactly it. They've got a solid defense in Washington. It's just can they get enough points to? But again, getting points is going to come into getting possessions.
Well, they've been doing this. Their offense has been doing this. I mean, obviously it was down at the beginning of the season.
And I'm excited to see them make it. I mean, I mean, I wrote that team off in the first couple of weeks of the season. Like, there's nothing. These guys are the dregs of arena football, and they turned it around. So it's even if they did get a little bit of help at the last week to get in, who cares? They got in, and good on them.
Yep.
Sets all kinds of team records. The best finish, first playoff. They've done a lot of good stuff in Washington, and again, from an ownership standpoint, they're doing some wonderful stuff. Yeah, they're getting their X's and O's figured out, and I'm expecting again more out of them next year for sure. But yeah,
but playoffs are starting.
Playoffs are starting.
Crown, road to the crown.
Road to the crown. Yep. Hey, so we still struggle with this crown and one thing, and we're getting there. But yeah, it's been a good week. We missed you last week. Maybe do all the...
what I caught of the show. You did a good job, but you did a good job.
I appreciate it, but yeah, I definitely missed you last week. Glad to have you back. I've got a couple good things lined up here pretty soon. Don't know who the guest is going to be next week, but the next couple after that, I think I've already got lined up. So, yeah. So stay tuned.
Are we potentially going to get a wrestler?
Not the big one that you're thinking. No, not yet. Anyway, that's still possible. But
knowing what his schedule is, because it didn't pop into my mind. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. He's still actively
wrestling it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Kind of bearing.
At some point, we'll work on it. We're gonna try to get JJ on at some point. So, but
yeah.
All right, Adam. This is Adam's thing.
No. Sorry.
I don't hate the idea. I don't think this year, but I could see a situation where you get a guy that kicks 8 deuces every game. You get a Clay Rush, let's say, that's kicking 8 deuces in every game and, you know, scoring 20 some odd points a game.
How often, and I understand it's controlled by the league, but how often has the kicker gotten an MVP or an offensive player of the year this year, a player of the week?
Once.
I know.
That's happened.
By the way, Adam, you should have started it off with, "Hi, this is Adam from Kalamazoo. Should a kicker be able to win the league? I'll hang up and listen."
Well, Triple E agrees with you. Like I said, I think it depends on the situation. I don't think Kaplan's done enough to get it this year. He had that one huge game, and he's been consistent. But I think for a kicker to win, I think you need to have somebody that scored 20 points per game. If you're scoring that much,
yeah,
there's a reason to. I think you should be considered.
The year that Nell went off in Albany, I think he was legitimate.
Yeah, but even he didn't get quite that much
to be in the conversation.
Oh yeah,
but no.
But you take out that Corpus game, and all of a sudden those stats aren't quite as good as.
Well, no, it's still hitting the deuces after deuces after deuces. Still, it was still impressive.
Mm-hmm.
It was still impressive, and he still did score. That's the thing.
Oh yeah, well, and that's kind of where Kaplan's been this year. He's still scoring frequently and still getting, you know, a couple deuces a game when the building allows it.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think there's a case that could be made. I don't think it's this year, but I think there's a case that could be made at some point. But
no,
don't forget, we do have those guys, Adam and Randy of the World of Football. I believe they're live tomorrow night or tomorrow evening.
I know they've had to shift their schedule. They had to shift their schedule, and they got their coaches show too for the Arsenal.
Yep, they shift around. Yep, they got an Arsenal show, and they've got the World of Football that covers literally the world of football. Every football that's going on, and some that isn't. Check those guys out. Like I said, good friends of the show. Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch if you haven't yet.
For sure.
So, all right, Tim, we've been eating up over 2 hours.
Okay, it was Jerry. Well worth it.
Jerry. Exactly. No, it was a good one. I definitely enjoyed this. But yeah, so let's go ahead and close this out, and so get some stuff lined up, some good stuff lined up here in the next couple of weeks. So again, as always, thanks for joining us on Fan Zone Live. Until next time, keep supporting the teams, the players, and the game we all love. Night, everybody.
Touchdowns, tackles we discuss.